Oh, speaking of the devil,
Yeah,
huh? Yes.
so this is news to me. Apparently, there is a new, even more exclusive Tinder service offering called Tinder Select. This
Whoa.
thing costs what, $500 is what this is what this costs.
500.
So this is interesting. We'll go ahead and talk about this. So this says cost of love, Tinder Select. What do you get with the four? Yeah, so $500 a month. Wow.
Yeah.
So it's $499 per month. That
Yeah.
is asinine. Okay. Um, Tinder launched its $6,000 a year subscription. That is insane. Okay. Popular dating app Tinder is known for matching thousands of singles and partners. Now the app introduced a new costly subscription plan and may want to know more about what Tinder Select offers and if it's worth the hefty price. Tinder Select is the dating app's newest subscription plan that costs a hefty $4.99. The subscription was launched on Monday, December 18, 2023, as an invite only extension of the app, similar to the celebrity dating app Raya. Tinder Select is the fourth paid subscription plan introduced by the app behind Tinder Plus, Tinder Gold, and Tinder Platinum. According to Gary Swindler, CFO at Tinder's parent company Match Group, Tinder Select will attract a relatively tiny amount of new players, which will have a significant impact on our revenue per payer and ultimately on revenue. Well, the damn thing costs $500 a month. I'm sure it will.
Sheesh.
Uh, Tinder's chief product officer, Mark Van I'm not even going to attempt to say that,
Right, right.
said the company has run countless tests to develop the premium tier. We know that there is a subset of highly engaged and active users who prioritize more effective and efficient ways to find connections, said Mark. So we engaged in extensive tests and feedback with this audience over the past several months to develop a completely new offering. In order to apply for Tinder Select, already existing users need to have five interests, have four pictures, have a bio of minimum 15 characters, indicate a relationship goal, be photo verified. According to the Tinder website, some accounts may be immediately granted access and some will require a full account review to ensure that the profile is aligned with our community guidelines in terms of use. However, the website mentions that the membership has limited availability. What's new on Tinder Select? Once accepted into the exclusive subscription plan, Tinder Select users have access to an array of perks. These perks include the ability to direct message someone twice a week without having matched them. People will see your profile picture first and the likes you grid for 7 days, even if they don't have a gold or platinum subscription. An exclusive Tinder Select badge, have access to Tinder's most sought after profiles, VIP experience as less than 1% of users get accepted. Okay, I'm not going to
Wow.
read any more of that. All right, so as if they weren't already commodifying relationships enough as it is, there's now this new tier which gives you all of these new perks. This has to be nothing but good for the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. So listen, man. I when I saw this, I was like, oh, okay. But I did the same thing as you. I was like, per month. And so the crazy part about it is, well, they're gonna have a lot of people doing this, or at least doing, 2 months. You know what I'm saying? And getting in the game. If they, because listen, let's be honest. I don't know how many women are gonna pay for this because they're already getting all the swipes that they want. You know, and on a scale of 1 to 10, man, there's some threes and fours that are overwhelmed with swipes, and people trying to match on them. So I don't really think this is so much for women, so much it is for the extra thirsty man. And there's guys out here that's already dropping tens of thousands of dollars on OnlyFans people and chat girls and stuff like this. And I'm pretty sure these guys have dating apps as well. So I think they're trying to reach the tier of people who are extremely desperate and have been trying this whole Twitter thing, or not Twitter, this whole Tinder thing, this whole whatever dating app thing, and not getting the matches that they always desired. So I think that, yeah, so those guys are spending $40 a month on premiums or platinums or how much it's costing. I don't even know how much this stuff is costing. But people is dropping that just so they can get those results of being that first person, so they can do this, so they can do that. And so for those benefits, that's really speaking to the guys that's out there that's not really getting no play. And the guys that are thirsty and hungry for something. And those guys have been paying on the internet for the longest. And I also think that that population of men is growing. And I also believe they're getting a little bit more aggressive with spending their money frivolously, trying to get some box. And so I think whatever analytics they ran, whatever numbers they crunched, whatever surveys they've polled, they've realized that we can get up to $500 a month for this kind of VIP access for these dudes. And the crazy part about it is these guys, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, basement dwellers, unless you're in the Anthony Edwards department, you know what I'm saying? And you got a bag like that and you just in town and you just trying to whatever, like, but you don't need Tinder because you're Anthony Edwards. So again, I don't understand why some of these people that actually do have the bag are tricking off so tough. But be that as it may, I really think that this is for the online spenders. They want to get into that OnlyFans kind of bag when it comes to making money. And because they know there's a market and there's billions of dollars per year for this. So why not spend some of those billions over here when you can actually get some box? So I think that they've trying to tap into that, and brilliant, because dudes are going to fall for it. So what are your thoughts on society, the world at large, now that we have Tinder Select and dropping $500 a month just for membership?
I have a theory
Mhm.
that within the next 10 to 15 years, prostitution will be legal in the United States.
Mm.
I think that
That's not a
prostitution,
hot take. I think, yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah. So, we're finally getting over the frontier of gambling.
Mhm.
Gambling is pretty much wide open.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed, bro, but it's legal now in Florida. Sports betting, sports
Oh,
books,
oh yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
finally cleared it. So
Mhm.
yeah, so you have to use the Hard Rock Live or Hard Rock Bet, because these Seminoles got it on lockdown here. So like
Mhm.
I think it's called Hard Rock Live or Hard Rock Bet. You have to use the Hard Rock app, but they finally pushed it through all of the red tape.
Mm.
Sports betting is now legal in Florida after all of this time. So gambling, we've gotten over that, right? We're pretty much past the point of trying to get gambling legal. Gambling is pretty much now legalized. Now that we have legalized gambling, what is the next frontier? What's the next thing that we are going to start pushing in this socially chaotic world that we are striving to create? What's going to be the next frontier? What's the next thing that legally is not permissible, but we know it still goes on? Just like gambling for the longest, unless you was in Vegas or Atlantic City, it was illegal to
Mhm.
gamble,
Mhm.
but everyone gambled still. So
Mhm.
now it was like, okay, let's just kill the charade. We all know everyone does it. Let's get the feds in on it so that the government can make some tax dollars off this thing and we can legalize it, right? So now that we've pushed past gambling, what's the next thing? Sex work. Sex work is the next thing. So I bring that up as my theory because I look at this Tinder Select. This to me is a precursor to whatever Tinder is going to develop as their OnlyFans version of Tinder.
Mhm.
This is like the testing ground. Let's see how much money we can make. Let's see how profitable we can be in the exclusive online dating game. This is going to be a proving ground to see how far we can push the limit in terms of putting Tinder's name into the OnlyFans premium content game.
Mhm.
Once sex working becomes completely legal, there's going to be no parameters, red tape that is going to be in the way of having this thing plastered all over the place. You're going to have NFL games and NBA teams being sponsored by Tinder exclusive and OnlyFans. We're like it's going. The only reason why it's not yet is because we know that these things primarily dabble in sex work, and sex work in terms of legalese isn't legal.
Mhm.
Once it becomes legal, we're just going to profiteer off of this stuff the way that we monetize everything else. So this to me is Tinder's way to get into the premium content creator space. I think this is a precursor. They are trying to see what they can do because I think anyone with the ability to see what's going on in the world can tell that it's only a matter of time until prostitution becomes legal. It's going to become legal. I firmly believe that at some point in the next 10 to maybe 15, 20 years, it'll be legal. It'll be legal. And once it's legal, who's to stop? There's nothing that's going to stop OnlyFans and whatever this crap is. And it's sad. It's sad that there is a marketplace for this stuff. But, Ruby Rose, I don't know if you saw this,
Mm.
but there's
Oh
some
yeah, I forgot about
this
that.
thing, yeah, this thing went so it went viral. Ruby Rose does OnlyFans, and she ain't even smashing on it. She's
Mhm.
doing the she's doing the just modeling, being half naked, and shouting out you via your screen name.
Mhm.
And she getting a bag on this OnlyFans stuff. I don't understand this, but it went viral because her biggest spender, apparently spent 90K on her. One guy, one guy spent 90K on Ruby Rose's OnlyFans. And it went public. He met her in person. They took a picture together, and everybody's like, "Oh, how cute!" And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Y'all are
Oh yeah.
celebrating this shit.
Oh yeah.
This is some sad shit." And come to find out, this guy who spent the 90K on Ruby Rose for her OnlyFans was years ago featured on the MTV show My Sex Addiction, or I Have a Sex Addiction. It was some show that MTV used to do. It was a reality show chronicling people who have sex addictions. And this guy is a porn addict. He get on his laptop, get on his computer. He has no job. He ain't making no money, but he has all the time in the world to sit in front of his computer looking at porn for 6 hours at a time.
That's nuts.
And this is the same
No
guy.
fun.
This is the same guy spending 90K on OnlyFans. So I feel like it's those types of people
Right.
that Tinder is targeting through this thing.
Yes.
And as we know, there's guys who make a ton of money who fit that build.
Mhm.
No social skills, no self-esteem, no confidence. They just don't get it. They don't. They know how to do one thing. They'll make their money in whatever field they're in,
Mhm.
but they can't actively be in the world coexisting with women. So they relent to the internet. And those are the types of people that Tinder's going to make money off of. And you see, Tinder ain't playing the money. Tinder's not playing a numbers game. They're just looking at the bottom line.
You're right.
It's an invite only service. So they're not looking at it from the wide funnel perspective to try and get as many people as possible. They know it's going to be a select group, but that select group is going to be able to pay so much that they're going to be able to be in the black.
Mhm.
So Tinder's not playing the numbers game; they're playing the money game, and they know that there's an economy because look at what OnlyFans is doing.
Yep.
So it's sad, but I agree with you. Basement dwellers for sure. These are, and I don't like terms like beta males and simp,
But come
incels. I don't like using those words unless appropriate. I feel as
Okay.
though within this context, it's appropriate
Okay,
because,
yeah.
like, what else can you? How else can you characterize this?
Mhm.
And it's like, hey, man, listen. I'm not the most like I don't bat 1,000 when it comes to women. I strike out a lot. I fail a lot. But the reality of a man is being out there in the field and doing this stuff.
Exactly.
Like, are you not thinking about like carrying on your legacy, creating a legacy, creating a family, actually having something that you can touch and feel? This internet stuff, It's a zero sum game in my opinion. It's a means to an end, and it's a sad end. And yeah, I think that if you break this down, somebody break out the SPSS formula to tally the percentage of men versus women who are going to be dabbling in this thing, I guarantee you it's going to be at least 90% men.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least 90% men. This is some sad shit. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. But as you say far too often, this is where we're at.
Yeah, bro.
So I don't like it, but what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do?
Nah, and not last thing I'll say is because that was well said, bro. And last thing I'll say is, you're right about the sex working as actual profession type of thing. Coming down the line, 10, 15 years, I can see that, and because people are already low key, it's already at an open anyway. But the other part is, yeah, man, they legalized the marijuana. They started doing that. They're giving the people what they want, the vices that you want, and they're giving
Yeah,
it to us right now. And you gotta be doped up in any capacity, whether it's marijuana, whether it's off gambling, whether it's off the vagina. Hey, man, sex, drugs, and money, man. That's what they're giving us, and people are getting doped up on it. And if you're so doped up on the vagina, on the gambling, on the weed, probably all three, then when all of that stuff's going down, around you, and the world is taking a different direction, some people are just too doped up to care. And so give the people the vices that they want, and sex work is already teetering on the line of being legal. So full blown legalization,
oh
so long
yeah,
as the government can get a cut of it, I can
yep,
definitely see that happening. Especially as the country continues to take the spiral that it's taken. So yeah, that's a good call. Didn't think about that, but yeah, man, sex, drugs, and gambling, man. How can you go wrong with that?
yeah,
So hey, what a world
yeah.
we live in, man.
Right, Western civilization, right? Western civilization, baby. You gotta love it.
You gotta
You
love it,
know,
man.
um, what was I gonna say? Like in the social discourse, and I've talked about this before. In the
Mhm.
social discourse, I believe we're already seeing
Yeah,
the conversation around sex work being
yeah,
turned into why are we looking at it as something that's should be shunned? It's just my job. Like we're already seeing that happen. So if we're already seeing it in the social discourse, it's only a matter of time before you actually see it legally play out that way. All it takes is for the amount of time. It's just a matter of time. However long it takes for Uncle Sam to figure out how to appropriately tax this thing
right.
is when you'll start seeing the tea leaves. Sooner or later, you'll start seeing it appear on your ballots, and you'll start seeing it appear. You'll get those little pamphlets in the mail. How do you feel about this thing? This stuff is a trickle down, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's how politics work. That's how all this stuff works. You'll start seeing it in your little pamphlets, your mailers. You'll get the text messages. They'll start conducting focus groups. Next thing you know, in your local elections, it'll be a question on there. It'll be a question,
oh my goodness.
and they'll treat it like dispensaries. So you can't just be out on the corner serving. You got to set up your business, set up your. So there'll be a your local joint that you
Yeah,
can go into and is legal, right?
yeah,
But that's
yeah,
what we're
yeah.
looking at. That's what we're looking at. That's all this stuff is. Online dating and OnlyFans. People laugh at me when I talk about this stuff, but I'm so serious when I say these things. I chart this specifically back to 2011 when Instagram came out. That is when I chart this thing starting. Instagram to me changed the world in ways that people don't realize. I really do believe that. I really do. And I think that Instagram was the precursor to what we are seeing playing out with all of this stuff. All of these visual mediums that are, to use your words, doping people up on that narcotic of sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
I personally believe it started in 2011 with Instagram.
Ah,
That's what I think. Anecdotally, that's how I think. That's what I think. But whether you agree with that or not, that's fine. I'm not saying that I'm right. That's just my opinion. But you just look at how these things are transpiring. It's only a matter of time. And I think this is evidence of that. Tinder was already a cesspool to begin with. The
Right.
very brief amount of time that I had an account, I used to see the craziest stuff on there. It was like a hub for online prostitution.
Basically.
And so I can only imagine how much more worse it's gotten since I got off of that thing over 10 years ago when I realized how stupid it was. And this is just only going to make it worse, man. And the fact that it's just got pretty much exclusively men caught in its crosshairs, it really bothers, as a man, that bothers me. It really does. It's some sad shit. I think it's some sad shit.
Yeah, man. And I don't throw the word simping around like that too, but we had an all time high. We had an all time high of dudes just, just taking the L and rolling over, and this is evidence of it. So, yeah, what a time to be alive, bro. What a time. Oh my God, that's wild.
Sheesh.